Okay, everybody, welcome to the Daily Crossing. We definitely happen to be extremely excited today because we're going to do a reaction video about the first Republican convention that just took place yesterday. I'm sure everybody's getting some information, they're getting some feedback. We definitely want to give you a little bit of our perspective. In general, though, Lorena, just your overall idea that from the aesthetics to sound, that at some point it sounded a little crazy at the very beginning, like the sound was very loud and stuff like that. The amount of people that attended, how did it look like? You know what I mean? Was that something that came across exciting? Did you see any excitement with everybody that was there?
Yeah, I mean, there was. Funny enough, though, I don't know if you noticed, but it's like most people were actually busy watching Tucker and Trump,
Apparently.
So I think the biggest presence in the whole debate was the whole Tucker and Trump thing. So I think
160 million views.
it's like 200 or something
by now. It's 200.
Yeah.
So even though Forbes magazine, owned by the Chinese, by the way, it's already complaining about the fact that the way X is counting views is not opposed to playing the whole video and like. Crying a little bit? You didn't like the number? Are you impressed about the amount of people that whatever it is, I promise you, Forbes magazine, that there's not a single thing that you're putting on X right now that gets 160 to 200 million.
Right.
So
by the way, it's like that's the stupid. Well, I get the argument, but also like how many people actually turn into the Fox thing and they then drove away? How is that different type of thing? It's like what is it? Navigating channel and stuff like that.
I was impressed. I was super impressed about the energy level. I was super impressed about the size of the venue. You know what I mean? I did not think it was going to be that big. I was super impressed about the energy in the place. I mean, listen, usually Republicans are not necessarily credited for being extremely exciting individuals.
They're usually old.
Exactly.
Republicans are usually old.
Yeah, and not excited at all whatsoever. But the interesting thing about it is that to see that lineup, first and foremost, however good or however bad happens to be, to see the lineup compared to the Democrat lineup right now, which they have none. Right? And whatever happened with by accident possibilities, however they're going to work it out, it's a little depressing, to say the least. But so how about we go straight into winners and losers, right? How did you think? I'll give you some names and see how do you what do you think? How did they ended up behaving and doing? Let me start with an easy one, right? So you don't get too complicated here. Chris Christie.
Krispy Kreme, you mean? Yes. He was a zero to the left. He was just angry and got angrier. It was really funny to me when he said the whole ChatGPT thing to Vivek. Yeah. That was kind of funny. So you can see he's kind of clever on certain things, but that guy is like not. I don't really.
He's always been famous for one-liners, and he's been famous extremely clever. He's a very good debater, by the way. But the fact of the matter is that you have an individual that. I think that Vivek Ramaswamy said it best. You know what I mean? Like you complaining about the way this man is and being vindictive and resentful. And
that's exactly who you are.
And that's exactly how you are running your whole campaign, which I think it was a phenomenal call out, to be quite honest with you. If I didn't know better, I would think that this man is the so-called Manchurian candidate. You know what I mean? Like he's been planted there to just try to take down the higher tier level of the Republican Party because he knows he has no chances whatsoever to win. And I don't even think that he's absolutely concerned about any positions within the administration, whoever is going to be holding office.
There's no freaking way.
Because nobody's going to hire him for
absolutely
anything.
not.
Nobody's going to hire him for anything.
I don't think anybody in that stage would.
And he's definitely not vice president material.
No.
You know what I mean? So for me, to be quite honest with you, unless people were watching something completely different, he falls into the losing side.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, what did you think about some of the faces that I don't even know if we're gonna see again. You know, Hutchinson and Bergen.
Ada looked like Norris. Ada.
It's not.
No,
it's
no,
not
that's
Asa.
what that's what Trump calls her.
Yeah, Asa.
Asa looks like Norris in the middle. It's like that dude looks like Biden a little bit, and he really does. Like when you think about it, I'm like, this guy. There was not a whole lot that he said. There was nothing exciting. What's the last name? Bergen?
Yes.
Man, he was small town and he stayed too much in the small town thing. He had a lot of great things to say.
Correct.
But there was zero delivery. That dude was as dull as a...
Well, he started poorly though, but then as it was progressing, I guess he got a little more comfortable. But by the way, he's also a guy that just broke a leg. You know what I mean? Like
maybe he was high.
Like I don't know.
By the way, he made a funny of that, which was really cute.
Myself, I don't know what kind of medication this man is in, because I also saw him a little. You know what I mean? Like started very slow, to be quite honest with you, right? But then he picked up, put a couple of good ideas, said a couple of good things.
I mean, he's a business guy. He comes from a small town. Like I'm sure that he's able to, but. I don't know that he's definitely not TV material.
For me, Hutchinson is, I literally was watching and saying, this man has no business being here. You know, I can't even believe that he qualified next to some other people that probably would have done better. Bergen
who you have put there?
Elder, also Sanchez, I believe is the last name for the mayor of Miami.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, this dude threw his hat in the race too late.
Yeah, very late, but also was not able to do what was needed to actually qualify. And ultimately, it's like you got to do your part. You got to do whatever it takes. But I think it would have been, I don't want to say more entertaining, but just from to continue to put across that diversity perspective that we talk about. That alone, you know what I mean, was a very impressive lineup, you know, when you're talking about, you know, the people that were there. But Hutchinson and Bergen, you know, to me, it's like, I don't understand what they even doing there, and they definitely shouldn't be. Like Hutchinson, if I was Hutchinson, if I was close to this man, I would say, listen, just stop it right now. Like, don't do this to yourself. So definitely in the losing side. What did you feel, or how did you feel about Scott, Senator Scott?
He was kind of neutral. Meaning he had a lot of great things to say, but somehow it really couldn't connect. He seemed like the mediator of the group, you know. Like he was kind of like, hey guys, you're taking it a little bit too much.
Definitely a politician.
Yeah, and too much of I just couldn't connect with him. Like I figured he will have a little bit more fire. The whole I'm a boy from the South, so I speak slow type of thing. I didn't necessarily. I'm like, okay, so what's the point with that? But he had
I'm a boy from the South for real.
For real,
you know
South.
what I mean? So I really speak a little slower.
Yeah. Well, I had too much South.
But here's one of the things that and by the way, I did this with a couple of people, right? I'm looking at the man and some of his ideas, delivery, definitely a polished politician, though. You know what I mean? And you need
Senate for how long? How many decades?
you need you got to think about the fact that you know one of the reasons why Trump had to choose somebody like Pence is because you need a statement type of individual. You know what I mean? Next to your side, especially if your personality is that much of a big personality. So I was writing down and I'm saying for Senator Scott, I'm saying he's definitely potential VP material.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Would you agree with that statement?
I can see that.
Can you see that as a potential? I think it will also be interesting. I don't want to fall into the same sinful structure of making choices, especially when it comes to the Democrats. You know what I mean? Which is, well, it's got to be black, or it's got to be Latino, or it's got to be female. Or
Right.
I'm just looking at the overall
you don't want to
concept.
DEI the whole process.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So, but for me, I'm still going to put it on the winning side, just because I do believe that at least he comes across as potential VP material. You know what I mean? Now,
here's the thing. Here's the one thing I was thinking as I was listening to him. How long has he been in Congress, right? And it's like, who was the last? This is the last president that has been in Congress for like 100 years, right? Biden, and how well of a job has he done. If you, as a politician, as a career politician, have been able to affect change, then there should be somebody else coming in as president saying it. That's just my personal opinion.
So one of the things that most people don't know, though, is that, and the reason why it is acceptable within politics to a certain extent, is that the fact that somebody's there for so many years is because as a congressman or even as a senator, you know what I mean, to just be in the position, to be in the kind of committee where you can absolutely make a difference, you know, you have to be there for X amount of years before they start giving you the assignment to be able to participate or to even pay attention to anything that you're trying to introduce. And so for somebody that only been a senator like a single round, that's what the other day that we were talking about this, I said to you, I don't have an issue with 3 terms for a senator. That's 18 years. Because the first one almost, I don't want to say it doesn't count, but it's the least effective time for a senator.
You're learning how to play the game.
Well, you got to wait your turn before they allow you to even play the game.
So you're benched.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
So that's, for that reason, you know what I mean, I'm not holding a senator or a congressman that's still fairly new in the process to a higher standard than the guy that's been there already 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Those guys already happen to be in very specific. They can do a lot more, and they have the power to do it. They just sometimes don't play it well. You know what I mean?
What's the story with Scott, though? I just want to.
1 term going into 2nd. You know what I mean? And so he's still fairly new in the process. I mean, it's been part of politics for a while, but at this level, and you know, actually, he's been embraced at a national level. You know what I mean? This is a guy that actually was, I would say, probably 1,000 times better known than a Hutchinson or a Bergen.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? 1,000 times. 1,000 times better known. So he already have that going for himself. He's likable. He's, like you said, maybe sometimes a little too much and let's kumbaya with everybody. And so that doesn't allow you to have a clear position about anything. What about Nikki Haley?
I think
Nikki.
she won a couple of points. Like, she sounded sane. I love how she actually was like unapologetic about women, you know, and she directly spoke to women, and I think that was very necessary. Nobody in that stage could have given the perspective that she gave as a woman in abortion. So I even think that was, you know, very, very good. It was interesting to see the dynamic of the Republican Party kind of like moving when it comes to abortion as well, which is really interesting, especially because everybody's like the whole like Christian values and stuff like that. So it was interesting to see that. But I like Nikki. I think she did a really good job. She was surprising. Just because she announced, I was really excited about her, and then all of a sudden she kind of like whoop whoop. You know, disappear, kind of like, and she did really well with the debate. She called out Vivek a couple times.
I mean, she went after him, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll jump into that in a second. But the statement about abortion, you know what I mean, it goes back to a very simple principle. What Republicans have to learn to do is to defend the position clearly stated, and maintain those non-negotiable principles, but at the same time, they have to be able to communicate it better. They have to be able to sell it to the public. They have to be able to make a compelling argument, because demonizing, you know what I mean, the other person, especially in the case of women, you know what I mean, where this is definitely a very difficult topic for the country, no matter what. And so I was pleasantly surprised that she, in many ways, found a way to frame it in a way that would be very helpful for the future communication.
But there was no way that any other man in that stage would have been able to say the same thing that she said and get away with it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know, it's just that.
But I think that, like I said, you know what I mean, it's like the argument most of the times is only framed the following way. I'm for life. That was phenomenal, you know. And opposed to making an argument of the benefits and the beauty of life, I don't know anybody, though. And I mean, I've dealt with homeless people, I dealt with very troubled people, I dealt with people that are very poor conditions, that are suffering through many different things. I haven't met a single person that literally looked at me and said, I wish I would have never been born. Or I wish that I would have been, you know what I mean? Like in a serious conversation. I mean, sometimes people say certain things emotionally, right? So most people do value life, you know what I mean? But you got to frame it in a way that it just doesn't go into, a Bible quote that then the person, that's not an argument. That's you saying, this is my position, I'm going to support it with this, and I'm not going to help you understand the benefits of that argument for you, you know what I mean? And ultimately, everybody's always thinking, what's in it for me? You know what I mean? I understand your position, but how is that something that I need to be paying attention to? So I love the fact that will be something that can be used for the future. What about now moving into, and I do put her on the winning side just because she almost reestablished herself in the conversation. And again, I will also say that she is definitely potential VP material. I would put that next to her. Mike Pence.
I think Mike Pence had to be there. Just because, he had to do the whole backing himself up from the process of what happened in January 6th and stuff like that. So he had to be there for legacy purposes. I'll put him on the losing side. I really don't. A lot of the stuff that he said, it was a lot of we. We did this with the Trump and Pence administration. We did this with the Trump-Pence administration. And, I respect the fact that he says between Trump and the Constitution, I will uphold the Constitution. And I respect that. I want everybody that will be in a position of power to be able to say that as well. But it's what you do before and after that matters. And I don't really think that he was congruent in the process, especially now that he's running, being like, under Trump-Pence administration, we did the whole thing. It's like, you said it. If you're going back to the whole Trump-Pence administration running on his policies and stuff like that, why not just have the guy himself do it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, those are two issues, you know what I mean? But that January 6th, the fact of the matter is that there are even scholars and attorneys that believe that there was legal grounds to request for Pence to do certain things or not to certify certain things or to send them back to the states. He actually had the power to do that, you know what I mean? And then later on, Congress passed, exactly, so that he wouldn't have the power.
Actually could have.
So he actually did, yeah, exactly, right? So that's one thing. So there was a lot of confusion, right? And that's the only reason why I give him a little bit of a break, because listen, if there is no clarity, then you also got to look into self-preservation, right? And I got to do what at the end is going to sound better, but also is going to cover my butt, you know what I mean? And I think that's what he ended up doing. But what I don't like, though, is that now that outside of the team, you know what I mean, is like there's a lot of things that he stated or have said about Donald Trump that are really not flattering, you know what I mean? So he went from looking like that very loyal individual that was standing by the side, as a very good vice president does, to the person that now is trying to run by tearing down the same person, while at the same time talking about how great the policies were. Look, everything that we did, which, as we know, the role that a vice president plays is almost insignificant, unless the president himself says, I'm going to let you play a little more, like in the case of President Bush and Dick Cheney, right? They said that was the most engaged and active and most powerful vice president the country ever had, Dick Cheney. So make no mistake about it, Pence never got nowhere near, because the necessity for that was really not there. You know what I mean? And so to what you were saying, right? And we discussed the argument of, if things were so good with the other guy, what do we need you for? How about we just let the other guy finish his run, because he's the one that had the policies and he's the one that was exercising that. So for me, he came across arrogant. He comes across, again, I'm the most qualified person. Why exactly? Precisely. You know what I mean? And so to me, I have to put this man as somebody that can potentially will be aggressively declining in this whole situation. I
mean, he's the only dude that's lost followings in social media as he's going through the process. It's hilarious.
Correct. So let me ask you a question. So now we're down to obviously DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy. So Ron DeSantis, I going into this thing, I thought that he was going to be the man that was going to be on the siege. You know what I mean? He was going to be the one under attack. He was going to be that.
He's not the real threat.
So what does that mean though? When opposed to going after DeSantis, they actually, is it me or my perception, or everybody actually was going after Vivek?
Yeah, there was a bunch of people going after Vivek. I think every single person.
Isn't that a way of validating that guy is actually considered a bigger threat to everybody else than even Ron DeSantis at this point, even though Ron DeSantis still have a healthy, as a matter of fact, we're going to see what kind of bump they're going to get by this weekend. We're going to know who actually, when it comes to really winners and losers. You know, what do you think that Ron DeSantis did in terms of delivery, presentation, policies?
He did what was expected. How great Florida is doing, which I agree. COVID, like all of those different things. You know, Fauci. Not shutting down, being strong on immigration, all of the things that we believe was going to happen. But there was no really connection. There was no rally. There's nothing eloquent about the guy. And to be honest with you, he felt very scripted. Because he wasn't poked enough, we didn't really get to see DeSantis like fighting it out.
Reaction.
You know what I mean? So it's like no one. And by the way, the mediators, right? Moderators did a very phenomenal job, you know, keeping time and stuff like that. But it really felt that every question that he was getting was kind of like catered to him, like just being like, hey, here, take it away. And so I really, you know, it's like, and then he will go and.
So difficult questions went somewhere else, and he got the question. About,
it's like, what's 2 plus 2? And he's like, 4. And it's
what's your favorite brand of Pamper? You know what I mean? So, all right. I mean, I did like his quick reaction when it came to the border and anything that has to be done.
100%.
Without hesitation, it was a resounding yes. We got to do that.
Right.
And I think that he'll have the ability to put certain things into level of control.
He also had a nice little like fail moment when like Vivek was like it's actual viral right now, right? That Vivek went like, who is gonna pardon Trump? And Vivek's like right here, and you can see DeSantis
will support also if he becomes whoever, no matter what, whoever is that. He was the first one.
He was like, what? And then DeSantis, you can clearly see him looking and then following suit. That's a big, you know,
that's going viral.
Not a leader.
That's absolutely going viral.
Yeah.
So your overall take about Vivek? I'm still putting Ron DeSantis on the winning side, though, just because I think that he was able to keep yourself under the radar. Maybe you want to see him fighting a little more, and so you can get a little more of that. But he was able to, again, policies, and he always does phenomenal. He can put it out there. He can give you an idea. He's still, but energy was absolutely high. You know, delivery was absolutely not bad at all. A little bit in the politician side, because again, when you're talking about policies, there's really, you have no choice but to be in that side. But I think he ended up doing better than what most people actually expected. And you know, and you're 100% right. You're not the first.
He's definitely still top 3.
You're not the first. You're not the first one telling me about how, as a matter of fact, was like really going soft on the guy, and almost nobody was going after. So, needless to say, it appears that the media is still favoring his positioning opposed to. Now, the case of Vivek, any stumbles, anything, did you see him? There's a couple of things that I was a little concerned about.
Yeah, so for Vivek, I loved his energy. I mean, he's made for social media, for the platform. He sells me the dream, you know, his truths, the whole, even a little bit of his delivery as well. Like he addresses the camera, like he knows how to work the crowd. So in addition to that, right, because it's not about being able to work a crowd. He is unapologetic about the things that he says, you know, so he's very much America first. We'll handle whatever it is that we need to handle overseas, but like we got to take care of ourselves first here. And all of those different things, he got called out. I think he responded very well. The whole foreign policy thing in the way that like freaking Nikki Haley bamboozled him in that process, it puts it into perspective as to this guy, whoever he is surrounding, like he's got to be a really great recruiter of the people that are going to be his advisors and vice presidents and stuff like that, because that is a concern. You know, you cannot have a naive perspective on the whole process. But at the end of the day, I don't think that he's going to be the guy that if he's in an international situation, he's going to shy away from like, he's not going to be like, oh my God, what happened? He's
Sure.
going to, he's not shy for conflict.
Yeah, I think that. So it's a couple of things that I want to highlight on this whole situation. First of all, at the very beginning, they did lose control. You know what I mean? The moderators. You know what I mean? For a couple of minutes, because everybody was like, especially Pence, was really. It almost felt for a second that he felt that like a sense of entitlement. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep talking. I don't care until they have
He
to
did
go
the
back
whole
to
thing.
until they got back to the rules. Saying, you know what I mean? This is how it's gonna work. Just
When
to keep
you
it on
hear this.
Hey, yeah, you know what I mean? So, but you know, there was no threat about we'll kill you, Mike. You know what I mean? Which in some cases in the past has been done, or at least has been mentioned as a choice to kill it. I think that he stumbled a little bit when it came to the whole climate change conversation and question, just because his style of communication, his delivery, sometimes takes a little longer because he's either
To get to the punch.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Because again, it's a communication style. You know what I mean? That not being a seasoned politician, just like we were talking about comedians, they know exactly what a punchline is going to
Right.
be, and you know that you're supposed to be expecting a punchline. When people seeing politicians having conversations, you're expecting that one liner that or something that's going to close with so much clarity that I get it, right? So in his case, it was almost like he left it open. But my biggest issue with him, though, and I hope there's a little bit of a correction, he's a friendly, you know, he's a guy that carries a smile naturally, you know what I mean? But when you're being pounded by an older man and you smiling so much, almost coming across like not nervous, but listen, you know when somebody who's older is like coming down on you a little
Right.
bit and your reaction is just to laugh about it or smile about it.
Yeah.
You know, that came across a little juvenile, you know what I mean?
I see.
So I want him to hold his position. You know what I mean? He's been interviewed from a few people that I know they wouldn't dare ask the question the way they framed the question or the way they asked the question to Donald Trump, the way they will feel
Got it.
comfortable asking, and maybe not even Ron DeSantis. You know what I mean? They just feel comfortable, and that means that
Right.
I still don't see you as that guy. You know what I mean? And so he's got to get a handle of his own, the image that he wants to project to everybody. That's going to be extremely helpful for the
Kind of like
next round.
what Jordan did whenever, like, he's like, I gotta put on muscle weight so that I can throw my body, my way around.
1,000%.
Okay, I can see that.
So in this case, it's everything, not just what he's saying, how he's saying it, but also you got to remember that the camera is on you at all times and it's
Right.
capturing reactions.
Right.
So what are you projecting is going to be super important. For me, listen, I don't know that Pence can actually be trusted at that level anymore. I think that this man is damaged goods, I'll be honest with you. I think that in general, the debate went very well, and they were able to address the elephant not in the room, as they very well
It's
put
funny.
it.
And it wasn't Chris Christie.
Who was who actually ended up winning the debate without beating the debate because his presentation with Tucker Carlson was an undeniable success. I think that the country right now is making very clear we don't like what's going on. This guy is not a saint. He's not a perfect person, but we're still willing to support him, right? I know that Vivek already said, and we were in that town hall when he literally said, I'm not a good number two, and I'm not here to play number two. And I know that every single one of them has to say that. But I think that's an interesting choice for the first time I'm saying, because I tell you why. That gives Vivek the ability to mature within, not as an individual. I think he's a very mature individual,
Within us
very knowledgeable,
politics, right.
within the politics arena and how to navigate and learn a lot more about do's and don'ts, right? And to do that under a Trump administration or with a Trump administration I think
So you
it's a
think he
very
can be the
positive
Dick
experience.
Cheney of
And
Bush's
but
Trump?
not even that. What I'm actually saying is you put 4 years that allows you, put 4 years in that allows you to understand the system, and then you can do your own 8 years now with better knowledge, better tools, and hopefully a better understanding of the people that have to be around you. and that will give them 12 years of a Republican admin and government. So that's in general. I will tell you, I don't know that would be a bad idea. I think that Ron did enough to
stay.
I don't know that he gains a lot. He looked presidential enough, but like you said, it would have been nice to see him being challenged.
Fight it out, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that he can, because he absolutely knows how to fight, and he absolutely knows how to do that. That didn't get a chance to come out. Final takes, hopefully for the next one.
So for me, I think the ones that were on the losing side, they were not coming back to September's debate. If you are asking about momentum, I think Vivek advanced momentum. I think Nikki advanced momentum. I think Scott, not as drastically as the other two, but he advanced momentum because he would have been on the losing side to begin with. And then Ron kind of like sustained where he was at. And that's just because he has the reputation that he has with Florida. So if I were there, is that I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen in September. And what's the play that Trump and Tucker, if they're going to have the same play when it comes to September, or if Trump is going to actually come in.
Decide to jump in.
But I don't know that even Tim Scott's going to be in the Scott is going to be in the next one. To
Correct.
be honest with you.
Well, I think that he has the ability. I think that if everybody looks at him from a, again, potential VP material, I think that alone would be something extremely that can keep him not only there but also give him the opportunity to gain some momentum. Everybody else, listen, I would like to not see a Chris Christie gaining any momentum, just because in reality I do believe that this man knows very well that he has no shot whatsoever of getting there, but in the process of just being there, he can actually do a lot of damage and hurt a lot of people. And it feels like that's his game. You know what I mean? Everybody else, from Hutchinson to Bergen, you know what I mean? Again, Bergen came across at the end, kind of sounded better and made a lot more sense. Maybe at that point the medication was clearing up a little bit. Hutchinson, I don't know if he already made the announcement. I haven't seen the news that he's dropping out, but if not, I think he should.
Goodbye.
For everybody who's actually watching us right now, and by the way, you're watching news, you're hearing everybody's talking about this whole situation that just took place with this debate. I'm inviting you, even if you're not a Republican, even if you're not in that side of the aisle, because unfortunately, the Democrats are not going to give you the opportunity to witness something like this, because nobody, it appears as of this moment, it might happen. Rumors are that it will be more like a game of replacing, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen where you're going to get the chance to see internal exchange of ideas the same way that Republicans are doing right now. I will tell you, the biggest surprise was to see so many people, so many different backgrounds, from African American to Indian background.
In a Republican debate.
To
two
female,
Indians.
You know what I mean?
We're going to see what's going on in India.
The two Indians were going at it, exactly. And India is rooting right now, saying, yes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But the fact of the matter is that everybody that is watching this, we are inviting you right now. Just go take a look at it, see what sounds better. Just get a little closer to the process, learn what's going on, and become excited about the fact that hopefully we can have a decent election. I become hopeful when I see, again, the ability to come together, hash it out, fight it out, and an exchange of ideas. I think it's something.
By the way, something that I do want to finish it with is like social media, streaming,
1,000%.
And that's just phenomenal to see more and more people shifting from. We didn't watch it from a news channel. We didn't go to Fox News. We don't even have cable. We literally went streaming through it, so it's pretty cool.
Phenomenal.
I'm excited about that.
With that being said, everybody, we definitely would love to hear who are your
what's your order?
Winners and losers, right? How do you have that? How do you describe it? What do you think is going to happen what is your prediction for the next debate? Would you like to see Donald Trump jumping into the next one? Or do you agree with the people that are saying, you don't need to be there. You don't need to go get hurt. You don't need to, get all those one-liners against you that somebody will be happy to use. Stay where you are. You're already ahead of the pack. You're going to be the nominee unless something bad happens. Hopefully not. But the fact of the matter is that we want you to just get a little closer so that you know how these things can actually help you or affect you. You know what I mean? You and your family, you and the economy. you and everything that has to do with your future, not only with your current economy, your retirement, everything that is going to be discussed one way or the other is going to have an impact on your life. So please
pay
like,
attention,
subscribe, let us know your list of winners and losers, and like this video, and let us know what you're thinking. With that being said, till the next one, because we cannot wait to see how the next one is going to develop. Congratulations, Republican Party, for having a successful debate.